Happy Friday and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young and there's a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. As usual, starting with March Madness, the men's and women's Final Four are set. I've said it for the past few weeks, but this March Madness is severely lacking madness. All four number one seeds have made it to the Final Four in the men's bracket. Here's how they got there. Duke freshman and national sensation Cooper Flagg finished with 16 points to help lift the Blue Devils to the program's 18th Final Four appearance with an 85-65 victory over Alabama Saturday night in the East Region Final. Duke by far has the most dominant offense in the NCAA, and now they move on to face the nation's best defense and the number one seed from the Midwest, Houston. Houston's historic defense held number 2 ranked Tennessee to just 50 total points as they breezed to a 69-50 win and punched their spot in the Final Four. The Cougars also broke the school's single-season record for wins and extended the nation's longest active winning streak to 17 straight games. Just how good is Houston's defense? Tennessee made only 6 of 28 shots in the first 20 minutes and missed their first 14 three-point shots. The top-ranked offense versus the top-ranked defense is going to be can't-miss TV. This game tips off at 5:49 p.m. tomorrow on CBS. In the West, the Elite Eight matchup between number 3 Texas Tech and number 1 Florida was somewhat of a thriller. Walter Clayton Jr. rescued top-seeded Florida with 2 late three-pointers, and the Gators rallied from 9 points down late to beat Texas Tech 84-79 in the West Region Final on Saturday. The Gators were in trouble late, down 75-66 with just about 3 minutes remaining. They wouldn't take the lead until Clayton Jr.'s three-pointer with just 59 seconds left to go. Florida now advances to the Final Four for their first time since 2014, this time to square off with the last number 1 seed, Auburn. Johnny Broome had 25 points and 14 rebounds, and number 1 Auburn took command with 17 unanswered points in the first half to beat number 2 Michigan State 70-64 on Sunday and complete the sweep of number 1 seeds advancing to the Final Four. The Auburn Tigers entered this tournament as the overall number 1 team and heavy favorites to win it all. They faced some challenges throughout the tournament until this point, but continued winning and earned their second ever Final Four appearance. The matchup between 2 SEC rivals, Florida and Auburn, will tip off tomorrow at 3:09 p.m. on CBS. Don't miss out on either of those 2 games as they should be incredible matchups, and by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll know which 2 teams will have made their way to the national championship stage. With that said, regardless of who makes it to the final round, the national championship game in San Antonio, Texas will be on Monday, April 7th at 5:50 p.m. on CBS. So, next time you see me, we'll be talking about which of these 4 schools has become a national champion. If I had to make a prediction, I would say Duke and Auburn will be facing off in the finals, and Duke will hoist the trophy. We'll see in just a few days. For the women's bracket, only 3 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four and 1 number 2 ranked team. Crazy stuff, I know. Jokes aside, the lone 2 seed remaining is UConn, who upset top-ranked USC 78-64. Paige Buchers led the way for the Huskies in a dominating performance, dropping 31 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. Sarah Strong added 22 points and a whopping 17 rebounds, and both Strong and Buchers played all 40 minutes of the contest. UConn now moves on to face number 1 UCLA in the Final Four. UCLA had an overall strong team performance, outlasting LSU 72-65. The Tigers were led by star player Flau'jae Johnson, who dropped 28 points. UCLA and UConn tip off today at 6 p.m. on ESPN. To round out the bracket, number 1 South Carolina and number 1 Texas will battle it out at 3 p.m. today on ESPN. To get to this point, South Carolina was tested. Chloe Kitts scored 8 of her 14 points in the fourth quarter, and defending national champion South Carolina came up with a critical defensive stop to outlast Duke en route to a 5th consecutive Final Four appearance with Sunday's 54-50 win. In South Carolina's way of a repeat national title stands Texas. Texas outlasted in-state rival TCU 58-47 on Monday night. Madison Booker, the SEC Player of the Year, led Texas with 18 points and 6 rebounds, and Rory Harmon had 13 points and 5 assists. Now, for the first time since 2003, the Texas Longhorns are going back to the women's Final Four. Like I said, Texas and South Carolina will tip off today at 3. College basketball is coming to a close quickly, so don't miss out on any of these final games. Next week, we will crown our national champions. Speaking of basketball championships, we're just about a week away from the start of the NBA playoffs. Here's a look at how the playoff picture currently sits as of yesterday. In the East, the Cavaliers, Celtics, Knicks, and Pacers all have sealed their spots in the postseason, while the Bulls have confirmed a play-in spot. In the West, however, it truly is the Wild West. The Oklahoma City Thunder are only team to have clinched a spot so far, with the rest of the conference entirely up for grabs. Teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, and Rockets are pretty much guaranteed a spot, but you never know what can happen in the next week. Including today, most teams have about 5 or 6 games remaining to earn those postseason spots. Playoff basketball is always one of my favorite times of the year, so don't miss out on the finale of the regular season, and next week we'll discuss who is in the playoffs. The same can be said for the NHL. So far, the only teams to have clinched a playoff spot are the Vegas Golden Knights, Dallas Stars, Winnipeg Jets, and the Washington Capitals. Speaking of the Capitals, it's been a few weeks since I've updated on Alex Ovechkin. As a reminder, Ovechkin is chasing Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals scored all time. As of yesterday, he is just 3 goals away with 892 career goals to Gretzky's 894. The Capitals face off with bottom-ranked Chicago today at 4 p.m., so tune in to see if Ovechkin can make history and break the all-time record. If not today, Washington plays New York on Sunday morning, then Carolina next Thursday, so I expect by this time next week, the record will be his. To close the show, the MLB is back and in full swing. As with the start of most major sports seasons, there's a major talking point circulating sports news headlines. This time, for the MLB, it's torpedo bats. A New York Yankees minor league hitting coordinator, Aaron Leanhart, started asking New York Yankees hitters what they needed to perform better earlier last season. After speaking with several players, Leanhart concluded players needed to make better contact with the ball. To do that, they needed to redesign their bats. Keep in mind, Leanhart was an MIT-educated physics professor at the University of Michigan for 7 years before joining sports specifically to solve these types of problems. The solution was a simple redistribution of weight from the wood on the bat. Here's an excerpt from ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan. Quote, "Every bat has a wood budget, a specific amount of weight, usually 31 or 32 ounces, to be distributed over a specific length. How could they invest a disproportionate amount of that budget on the barrel without throwing off the remainder of the implement? The creation of the bowling pin bat, also known as the torpedo bat, optimizes the most important tool in baseball by redistributing weight from the end of the bat toward the area 7 inches below its tip, where major league players typically strike the ball. Doing so takes an apparatus that for generations has looked the same and gives it a funhouse mirror makeover, with the fat part of the bat more toward the handle and the end tapering toward a smaller diameter like a bowling pin." End quote. And safe to say, this experiment is working. The Yankees tied a major league record with 15 home runs over their first 3 games. 9 of those came from 5 players who have opted to use the new style bat. The Yankees aren't the only ones capitalizing on this newfound discovery. In his first game with the torpedo bat, Elly De La Cruz had a single, double, 2 home runs, and a career-high 7 RBIs as the Cincinnati Reds routed the Texas Rangers 14-3 on Monday night. The list doesn't stop there, though. Here's a look at the current list of players using the new bats. I expect this list to grow every day, however. I'm sure this offseason something will change with the rules and what kinds of bats can be used, but for the time being, I'm enjoying all the home runs and the high-scoring games. I guess we'll see what happens as time goes on, and I'll keep you updated. With all of that said, enjoy all of the basketball, baseball, hockey, F1, golf, and more this weekend. Be sure to come right back next Friday for more news, updates, and highlights, including who wins a national title. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.